How'd you find jiu-jitsu?
So I have 2 kids, and when they were kind of in the late elementary, junior high time frame, there was a pretty decent MMA gym not far from where we lived, and I just wanted to put them in it, basically. And so put them in it. They were in it for a little while, and then I would go and watch, and I was like, fuck, why don't I give this a shot, and did, and probably not too dissimilar to some of your experiences early on, when a 16-year-old 112-pound kid makes you feel like you're getting raped by an octopus. I was like, this is embarrassing. And so then, I just kind of went full tilt into it. And I did get pretty badly injured early on. I had a full tricep tear with an avulsion fracture.
How did this happen?
It was a pretty seasoned blue belt that was a fair bit bigger and stronger than me. And I was in his guard, and he just went to trap my arm for a sweep. And it was almost more like a palm strike. And I think I just had, beat up elbows and tendons from, the job. But it just, I don't know if it just hit me right at the right spot at the worst time or whatever, but it just snapped. And it wasn't violent. It wasn't like, being thrown really hard or posting really hard or anything like that. I mean, it was just a very simple, just kind of little trap like that. And it just snapped. And immediately I was like, fuck. It was that, I wouldn't say it was super painful. I mean, it was painful, but it was that burning, hot poker feeling.
Something's not right here.
And immediately, I laid on my back and I tried to raise my arm, and it just went like that. It was completely disconnected. And so that took almost a year to get back to where I could just do push-ups really, normally. Yeah. And so I took another probably 6 or 8 months from that time until I started rolling again, but I was really hesitant to do it because, especially with doing what I do for a living with dogs, having one arm completely immobilized me, that could put me out of business, I mean, it was a really negative impact business-wise. So couldn't handle dogs, couldn't catch dogs in a bite suit.
It's just not worth it.
Yeah, so when I came back, we had that conversation a few months ago about primarily doing private lessons for that reason. And so I went to an academy, a checkmat academy for a few months, and it just wasn't a good fit. Ended up going back to the coach that I originally had my kids in, and then did that for several years. And he ended up moving, so now I'm with a bigger gym in Dallas for the last couple of years that is good. I still do primarily private lessons, but the nice thing is the coach understands all of what my injuries are and is very strategic about our training. But when I went to every one of these guys, I said, my number one priority over learning jiu-jitsu is to try to not re-injure myself to that level.
Yeah, it's supposed to enhance your life, not ruin your professional life.
Yeah. So I said, that is my number one thing. I can't have an injury like that. I know there's no guarantees. I just want the training methodology to mirror that is my number one goal, and so it's been good. I mean, it is a little limited. They are strategic about bringing certain guys in that go to their normal classes, or there's times where I'll go to group classes, but even then, my coach will say, hey, I want you to roll with this guy, or I want you to, whatever.
Smart.
So
the worst jiu-jitsu injury I've had was from a 15-year-old.
Really? What was it?
My shoulder came out of the socket and it was a pec tear is what it ended up being. Completely my fault. It was my business partner's son.
Wow.
We had just finished an hour of rolling with just savage black belts on the mat, full fucking fighting for your life for an hour.
Yeah.
And how big would you say? He was actually working at the coffee shop today.
Well, now he's big.
Yeah. How big would you say he is?
I think he's 190 or 200.
He's 16.
Yeah.
So on the street, you'd might cross the street at night. You know what I mean? He's a huge kid. Super, super nice kid. We're rolling. I wanted to work on an armbar escape. So I was laying on my side. I let him grab my right arm, and he threw his leg over the top and fell back. And I think I was so relaxed that I wasn't defending myself at all. And I think there was just too much laxity. So when he pulled, it cavitated out, which was one of the most disgusting noises I'd ever heard, and then came right back in. He heard it. He was pale white afterwards. And I mean, my whole bicep was I didn't know what it was at the time. My whole bicep and forearm turned black and blue. My chest turned black and blue, swollen. And in the end, went to the hospital. They didn't see anything. The shoulder was looking like it was stable enough. And in the end, it was a pec tear, like a partial pec tear on my right pec and a little bit of involvement in my shoulder. It's fucking horrible.
Man.
All because I was laying there
Yeah.
just like, whatever, no big deal. And I think he pulled early, and it was just at that angle. It was one of the most disgusting noises I've ever heard.
Was it super painful?
Only in that moment when it went out and then when it went back in.
Yeah. Man.
But, I screamed tap.
Yeah.
And everybody kind of looked around like, that's a noise you don't often hear. And it was the same thing. I just sat there with my arm at my side, knowing that something was wrong. And all you can think in your head is, how bad is this? How fucked am I?
Yeah. And for how long?
Yeah. I mean, we're talking straight. It was gnarly.
Dude,
and,
brutal,
15-year-old fucked me up.
Yeah. But he was smaller then?
I mean, he's smaller than me, but
Yeah, he's still a big guy.
he's a big guy. It completely my fault. You can be, because people tell you, hey, just relax. Well, guess what? Don't relax too much.
There's a point.
I think all I needed was probably just a little bit of tension in my shoulder, and it would have protected it. But that set me off the mats for, I don't know, a couple months.
Yeah. Did you not have to have surgery for it?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Nice.
And it's like you can see like the tendon on my, like, I looked into it, but it's not a full tear.
Yeah.
It was a partial tear, so I just kind of work around it.
Yeah.
I don't know. If anybody out there listening can figure out a way to fix it, it'd be great.
How experienced was he at that point?
He's a white belt.
Oh, no shit.
That's completely my fault. Like I said, completely my fault.
Yeah.
But I was, you know the deal. You have to let people work though too.
Yeah.
And it was the last round. We were going at a chill pace. He wasn't going hard.
Yeah.
It just
Bad angle. I mean, I think it was kind of that same thing with me. Like we weren't going super hard.
Yeah.
It was a pretty normal roll, and it was just a weird angle and just kind of the exact wrong place at the wrong time kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
it's not a no consequence activity.
no, for sure.
It's a full contact sport.
Yeah.
The gentle art my ass.
Yeah. Well, I will say, like compared to boxing, Muay Thai, it's still one that you can at least go easier paced.
I can't even mess around with that ballistic stuff anymore. My head, I have been hit in the head so many times, or just the concussion history that I have no interest ever in practicing a ballistic art like that.
Yeah, me either. I mean, I do think. Do you guys practice striking and takedowns and like
Takedowns for sure. They're up in the Whitefish gym. They'll do a jits with hits, is what they call it, and they'll put on bigger gloves. They're not hitting each other hard, but their strikes are allowed. But again, they're probably doing a lot of open hand and probably just touching and reminding you, hey,
you could
maybe inverting underneath somebody with your face directly underneath their fist is not a good idea.
Yeah. I do think that's important. I mean, if the practicality of it is a primary goal of yours, because that's one thing I do see. I'm sure you see the same thing. Like as it gets more and more popular, it's becoming more and more like karate and taekwondo in the 80s in some gyms,
places,
in some ways,
There is, in my opinion, which only counts for me, it seems like there are people who are really interested in the sports side, and there seem to be people really interested in the self-defense real-world application. Sometimes there's some overlay in between the two, and I think both are fine. Like if you want to just go do the sport thing, right on. If you want to do the self-defense thing, right on. I think if you only focused on a rule set where points can determine the outcome, there's a chance where the self-defense aspect of that is really going to be diminished. But as long as you realize that, like go live your life and do that. I'm all about it.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Also, don't fight anybody. Just like don't get in fights.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's it's to me, it's always been like I don't compete. I don't have any interest in competing. And same with like, I will say I find myself even with my coach kind of reminding him, because he does compete. He's a pretty high level guy, and the gym is pretty successful. A lot of competitors come out of there, and so they're very focused on pans and worlds and all of the big competitions. But to me, the drawback with that is there's a lot of kind of fancier, this is the new thing right now, type of stuff that I have no interest in.
Old man jitsu. Is
yeah,
that's all I want to do, which largely encompasses me just laying on you.
Well, I think, and enjoying it.
Consensually, of course. Training partners, we agree to this, but
yeah.
I'm not trying to out cardio a 20-year-old.
Yeah. Well, and I think Hodger Gracie, I think is the best example of like if you can do the basics, or I mean whether it's pure jiu-jitsu or even looking at the Dagestanis in MMA. I mean, you look at how dominant they are on the ground, and look what they're catching guys like Charles Oliveira with. A basic head and arm choke that he can't keep them from doing. It's like, so you don't need to be super fancy. I mean, to me,